So then it just started becoming a compound because I took action.
Right.
Because I could sit there and overanalyze everything. I could sit there and get analysis paralysis and be sitting here 3 years in my seat now and say, I could have done this if I would have taken action.
Taking that. We're live now in Monterey, California again. I'm so glad to have you come over today. I wanted to invite you to come to my podcast to talk about co-living because I know that was your main strategy up to, I would say earlier this year, acquire a lot of co-living houses creatively. That's how you were able to scale your portfolio so fast. Before we dive into that logistics, I'd like to know, how did you come up like from the military up to investor and into entrepreneurship and full-time? So maybe take us back to the very beginning.
Yeah, so again, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on the show with you and to be interviewed. So I appreciate that. So, and we've known each other for a few years now. So
2 years.
Appreciate it. Going back, so I've only been in real estate for 3 years. June 25th, just a couple of days ago, was actually my 3-year anniversary.
Are you kidding?
Sub-2.
Wow, so you're only 3 years? Okay, let's talk about where it all started.
June 24th, Adam, if he walked by me right now, I wouldn't even know who that person is. That's how much I've changed in the last 3 years. And so going back, before Sub-2, I had not had any real estate other than me and my husband bought a primary home when we were both stationed in South Carolina. The first time, we just leveraged that property to live in and we made it an Airbnb because we found out about it on the internet. That was what we did. So we saw, okay, we could rent, we didn't have any kids, well, let's rent a bedroom out and downstairs, and it paid for our mortgage, and then we converted the house over. But that was the extent of the real estate that we'd done, right?
So Airbnb, did you stay in that kind of rent out some of the part of the year, or is it full-time rented out?
Yeah, when we lived there, we converted the downstairs bedroom into, and we just blocked it off so they could come and go on the side. And one bedroom in our town was paying for our mortgage at that time. And that was a lot for, you know, us in the military.
Wow.
So we were able to pay that. And when we left, we were making 3 times what the mortgage paying because we were the full house then. But that was it. Before I became a real estate investor and I'm doing this full time, I was in the Marine Corps. I joined at 17, right out of high school. All I knew was the military. I eat, sleep, and breathe the military life. And that's it, right? It was good because you're getting paid on the 1st and 15th. You got your meals provided for you. It was a safety net, right? I did my 20 years and I saw I made the right decisions, even though I didn't think it was the right decisions at the same time. Every 4 years, I wanted to get out, but I signed the dotted line every 4 years and kept going and finally retired. I decided, what am I going to do after I get out of the military? I was like, am I going to go work for someone? Am I going to go build someone else's dream? And I really had to sit back and say, hey, no, why don't I build my dream and focus on what I want to do? So I found Sub-2, went to YouTube University for a little bit to figure out what is Pace Morby about, right? This is a scam. There is no way.
That's exactly the first impression. I'm like, this guy, I can't figure out if he's a scam or does he really know his craft? Like, I got to learn more. And I'm sure that's how you feel.
Yeah. So, hey, I'll tell you, my train of thought was, let me see if I can get a payment plan on my education. And say, if it's a scam, I can just get out of it, hopefully, right? But guess what? I would pay 10 times what I did to get in this. Sometimes you got to pay to get in the room sometimes.
Exactly,
And I'm so glad I got into it.
I'm so glad you're here, and then I'm so glad we get a chance to meet each other. I remember the very first time I met you, I don't know if you remember, it was the very first community camp where you have to have a special exclusive invite to get into that, and we're sitting at the same table. Remember that Brendan Turner was sitting on our left? And then you were like right across me in the same table. My husband sitting next to me, and he looked at me and said, dear, how much do we pay to get in here? And I was like, you don't want to know. I was staying in Jerry Norton's cabin.
Jerry Norton's house.
I stayed in the house. And then we have that guy, The Sound of Freedom. It's just kind of help you open your mind, like, wow, what is possible, right? Like, I'm sure you have that feeling all the time. So now you have that knowledge of joining Sub-2, and I know you have grown your rental portfolio substantially for the past year. Maybe walk us through that journey, because you start with one house, right? And then
started out with one house, joined the community in June and gave myself no option to fail. I said, I didn't even put it out there. It didn't even think about it. As a visionary, I could not see myself out. I could just watch myself in the future, right? And so I saw what was possible, and I saw everyone else doing it. I'm like, why can't I do that? If they're doing it, why can't I do it? Because I've got the skills of life skills to get over hurdles and focus on the future. Some people don't see that, don't have that that ability to watch
the
themselves,
future.
see the future, and overcome hurdles. So July came around and found my first deal, found a lease option lake house that I still have in South Carolina, negotiated it directly with the sellers.
Direct to seller.
Even though it was on market, the agent wouldn't take me to go see the property, and it was his loss. So I just went and did what I did best and went and talked to the neighbors and didn't do door knocking because I don't do door knocking because I will have a panic attack probably.
Yeah, it's okay.
And,
Everyone has a different flavor of investment strategy.
So that was my first one, and then just the compound effect. It built my confidence up that, hey, this is a legitimate strategy. That I don't have to use my own money to get into real estate. I don't need 20% down. If there's an objective, I can go talk to someone to help me overcome that objective if I can't do it myself. I started leveraging the community.
Right.
You know, I text Ingrid Hernandez was my first person that I text. Her and Crystal Doyle were my first ones.
Yeah. So the lease option. So you went to talk to the seller. It was a lake house.
It was a lake house in South
Great
Carolina.
view. It's like, this is prime for Airbnb or midterm or whatever. And how did you structure your term lease option? You figured, you know, that would work if I lease at this price, I could make this amount of money.
Yeah, so it was on the market for like $450-something thousand, I think it was.
When you see the
and I
price
thought,
too
I was like,
high.
okay, well, I've got to own this property. I'm sorry, you know, made an offer for seller financing and I got a good term. And actually my terms were worse than what I'm paying because it was my first time doing this. And I think, oh, this is good. And not even thinking that, oh, my taxes are going to go up and stuff like that because I didn't have the experience.
But you took action.
But I took action, right?
That's important.
So I was chasing the seller finance, but it ended up being a lease option because it made sense for the seller.
He's not willing to give the deed yet.
He didn't want to have a taxable event for his heirs because he was almost in his 80s, I think. He's a retired general in the Army, and that's I found out by just building a relationship with the seller.
Army to Army, yes.
Army to Marine.
Yes, Army to Marine.
confused.
Okay. Excuse me, Army to Marine, yes. But you both speak military.
Yeah, so I was visiting my grandma in the nursing home. I was telling her about it, and she's like, you know, just go talk to him. Go knock on his door. And I literally sat with her in the nursing home, and I wrote on a sticky note my offer. Took it to him, and they agreed to my offer. And then once they went back to our lawyers and we agreed, it just ended up being a lease option. But I'm paying $1,200 a month on a lakefront home.
Yes.
Even if my interest payments alone on a $450,000 purchase price would be more than $1,200.
Correct.
So yeah, I was able to negotiate terms that worked out for both of us, and now we're going to be looking at buying his entire estate on the lakefront.
Wow.
But we're looking at buying a few lots, a few homes from him. He's probably going to lease option it to me to mirror the terms that I have, so that I can go out and leverage it and just get creative with being able to purchase it in the next 5 years.
That's so powerful. I want to take a little bit of time to kind of dive into that because you basically help the seller achieve the goal. Because if he sells it to you traditionally, there will be a huge taxable event that he will have to pay capital gain. But through lease option, he's not technically selling to you yet. You know, he's not giving the deed. So you're basically a tenant who leased the property from him, right? The option to purchase, how long was the leasing period?
So I did 5 years was my option period.
You can exercise it.
I can exercise it anytime.
Okay.
But I saw the value in doing 5 years because I got it at a price that I saw the growth in the area. I analyzed the community. I analyzed what the future growth is, and homes are just growing down and down the road, and they're selling for $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 just half a mile up the road on the lakefront, and it just keeps coming down. I thought 5 years was a good time frame because then I didn't know everything at that point.
Yeah.
You know, I was only 1 month in. I know that I will learn because other people are doing these things, and I know that people that I was about to be around, I saw the growth that was possible within 5 years that will allow me to maybe think out of the box even more about another strategy to leverage that property for. You know, at the end of the day, if I don't buy it, I could sell the contract.
Correct.
And not even own the property and probably make a few $100,000 on selling a piece of paper.
Yeah, I think that's super smart lease option because you gain control of the property. Until you exercise the option, you still own the purchasing right, which you benefit from future appreciation because that's your house. When you decide to, you're locked in. And then also, if ended up maybe just say leasing it for a few years, if you realize my strategy change, you can also lease another person to sandwich lease option.
Yeah, I could lease it to someone else and make
they come in
money.
And
But I'll tell you, I make way more than $1,200 a month on a lakefront house in South Carolina.
And by the time when you're ready to purchase, it's already appreciated 100,000 more. Then that's all your profit. Unrealized profit, but it's going to be worth way more than you try to purchase in the future.
I'm no money out of the deal right now. It's not just about the money I saw, right? I was able to leverage the home to stay there with family, build memories. Sub-2 students have stayed there. I've let them stay there for free because they were, coming in together.
Okay, where is it? I'll make a trip down there.
Because they were doing a meetup in Charlotte. I had Crystal Doyle and her husband. They stayed there for like a month when they were moving from California to South Carolina. And so that's why I love real estate, and especially in the creative space, because you can leverage it in other ways. There's other reasons why you buy real estate, not just for the money, but stories and leverage.
And the friendship, the opportunity. Yeah, that is so awesome. So that's what, your second house?
That was my second house that I had control over because I didn't own it yet. And then after that, I bought my first sub-2 deal. Me and my husband moved in it when we moved back to South Carolina the second time and lived in a sub-2 home. We bought it in September 22. We kept it empty, vacant, until we moved into it in February because we knew we were moving there. But the rate, we were 6-7% interest rates at that time. I was buying a 3% interest rate.
What type of loan? VA?
It's a VA loan.
Wow.
Literally all I did was go on a Facebook group, our
Just
subdivision.
make a post.
Yeah, that was in the same subdivision that we own our other home in. And I just said, hey, who is looking to sell their home that just bought it or doesn't have equity and is going to pay someone to come in?
Yeah, just decide to change a plan.
Yeah, you want to change a plan? Are you going to have to pay someone to buy your home? So literally I got into that home for $5,000. The closing costs.
Yeah.
That was it. It's crazy.
No equity.
No
take
equity.
It straight sub-2.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of equity in there because the way I structured it was, okay, you don't have to pay 6% commissions. You don't have to pay out.
Right.
So I was able to get a little bit
that.
discount.
Okay.
And then I just sold it a year and a half later and made a profit off of it.
Okay.
So then it just started becoming a compound because I took action.
Right.
Because I could sit there and overanalyze everything. I could sit there and get analysis paralysis. And be sitting here 3 years in my seat now and say, I could have done this if I would have taken action.
Taking that action.
Because you never know unless you try.
Right. I've seen a number that you share. We're pretty risk averse. We underwrite pretty conservatively. So even if it all goes wrong, there's a way out, meaning that we can still try to sell it on the market. We can rinse and repeat, wash out, start over. But it's an experience that we gain that's invaluable in my opinion.
I got really good at, and that's how I think I became really good and successful in creative space, was identifying the highest and best use of properties.
Correct.
Because there's so many different ways to make money with real estate and a certain property that you can't do anything without the real estate. Just because you have one box of it, you may, in a room like this, may not be looking at something. But I was able to educate myself over a short period of time because I saw the value in understanding every single strategy.
Right.
And so over the last 3 years, I've done a little bit of everything. Short-term rentals, co-living, sober living homes, lease options, wraps. Only thing I hadn't done is innovation yet. And big
That's what I'm
multifamily.
working on right now. In my time, I'm working with a builder. We're going to try to do fix and flip through innovation because I just don't like to pay hard money lender. Pretty hefty price and all
You know
that.
your numbers and what you want.
Yeah.
And there's a strategy for it.
Yeah, there's a strategy for it. It's all about what's in your mind, what's possible.
I mean, there's HGTV shows about innovations. So just named a little bit different.
Yeah. Okay, let's change the direction a little bit because I know you recently kind of took a different route. You kind of restructured your portfolio a little bit and then you decided to step back to holding some notes. Can we talk a little bit on that?
Yeah, so I saw the value in freeing up some of my time. And not worrying about some of the things as an Airbnb owner, like a pool, right? It's a business.
It's an active
not
business.
passive.
Yeah,
Unless
they call you.
You know, they're gonna call you.
I don't like the water.
Yeah, there's a leaf in the pool.
Right.
You know,
The temperature wasn't right.
Can I get $100 off or something like that, right?
Yeah, they like to haggle.
So I saw the value in creating notes and wrapping some properties.
What does that mean by creating a note?
So basically what I'm doing is, the first one I did was late last year. I did one on the first house that we bought. What it was, we took our property, just like a lease option almost, but you are changing the note, or you're creating a note and you're changing the deed.
Yes.
And you're really becoming the bank at the same time as you have your mortgage, which is held by another bank. I'm coming up with a price, let's say $400,000. I've got a sale price of $400,000 and my mortgage is $300,000.
Yes, 100.
There's a $100,000 gap there.
Right.
Say I want to sell it to somebody, but I don't want them to come up with $100,000, and I don't want to do a sub-2, or I don't want to do any other strategy.
Right.
So what I'm doing is I'm taking my $100,000 equity, and so I'm taking the $300,000 loan balance, gives me a total of $400,000. So I'm packaging all that up, wrapping a mortgage around it.
Wrap around
Yeah,
notes.
I'm making my own interest rate. So my interest rate is like, let's say 4%. I can charge a buyer's a market
7-8%.
7-8%, 6%, whatever. You can use it as a negotiating tool, average. Hey, I'm less than what the market
rate
is, so come in and so negotiate. Basically, it is you're just taking your purchase price and putting a new mortgage on it, and you're getting the difference between your mortgage payment and what the new buyers are paying, and you get the spread.
I see.
So it could be, a few $100s or a few $1,000s sometimes, depending on how good of a note. I mean, and especially us buying sub-2 deals at 2% interest rates, and we're wrapping it at 8%.
Correct. You're making the spread.
You're making a pretty good spread, and guess what? I don't even have to take care of the property.
Correct. You don't get a phone call, so you basically
call me if the house burns down, because I need to tell you where the insurance needs to wire me my money.
Right. So now you became Bank of Adam.
Bank of Adam.
Bank of Adam. There might be a original note with Bank of America. Now it's Bank of America. So as a buyer, they will pay 2 notes, right?
Yep.
One payment to Bank of America, one payment to Bank of Adam.
And guess what? So I use a servicing company.
Servicer, yes.
Like we got Mr. Cooper, we got everyone out there that has the mortgages. Use a servicer company, because you may buy it from Bank of America, but Bank of America might use someone else for you to pay your loan. So we're using it to where the seller pays the servicer company.
To the servicer.
And the servicer is paying the mortgage and then pays us. I just get a mailbox money.
Yeah, that's very smart. And I think there's a huge benefit of using service as well, right?
It is.
From the buyer's perspective. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Because it helps them streamline it, but also it allows them to go and refinance in the future, because then they can show that, hey, these are the payments I've been made, here's all the documents, and treat it just as if it was a regular bank, and you're setting the buyers up for success.
Correct.
Because you don't want to be predatory. We're here to help people.
We're here to help people.
How are you going to do that when you're setting them up for failure? If you're not leveraging the tools that are made available for us and the resources for them as well, but also it protects me, because now I can go and get another mortgage and not have that count against my DTI, because I've got a servicing company. Debt to income.
Debt to income ratio. So because now you can explain, hey, listen, I own this note, but it's somebody else paying my mortgage. So they can use that record to offset the debt to income ratio. Say, hey, now the Bank of America is paid by Joseph, whoever buying the house. So then that written it off from your debt to income.
Yeah, it helps that. I like to value certain things. I've got a personal loan that I had for a few years I'm about to pay off, but it has a $400 payment on it. My note for the home that we first bought is about $500 something I get every month net. Guess what? So that counteracts that. So I like to leverage real estate for a lot of things. You like to leverage it to free up your lifestyle.
Correct. You free up your dollar. And it's so fun to kind of move the debt around, kind of swap them every now and then, because you figure out this performed better than that, or that required more maintenance. I'm going to change that a little bit and make it more lower maintenance. I still get payment, but counter that cost of money and cost of effort.
And sometimes it's worth freeing a headache sometimes.
Right.
Because then you can focus your energy on bigger and better things. Yeah. And you don't have the lost opportunity cost you would have.
Wow, that's so wonderful. Thank you for coming here to share all that. If you would just, give us a couple of advice for people just starting, what kind of advice you will give them? Maybe give us a few.
So I'll give you 2.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
I'll give you a technical one and then a non-technical one.
All right.
Because it's a mindset one. We are our worst enemies. And unfortunately, that's the fact for all of us.
Everybody.
Okay?
I'm the worst critic to myself.
Grant Cardone is the same thing, right? Pace Morby's the same way. I'm the same way. You're the same way, right? We get in our own way. What I would say do is focus on a goal. Look at yourself in the future. Close your eyes and imagine yourself in the future, where you want to be, and work towards that, okay? Don't live in the current moment you're in right now, because you're going to go through some trials and tribulations. You're going to have some hurdles you got to overcome, and then you're going to be uncomfortable, and you might cry at night. I sure as hell shed a tear before.
It's a scary moment. Is it a good decision? What did I do?
There's a lot on the line, especially when you're working with other people's money. It can be nerve-wracking sometimes. Focus on yourself in the future. And when you hit those roadblocks, know that you have people around you that you can ask questions to. You know where you're going. So you're just in that current moment. You just got to get over it. Don't let that one moment define where you're going to be going. And then the technical one is everyone always asks about private money and how I do that. Just network from day one, okay? But network with intention. Don't just go out there to talk to people. Of course, you want to go out there and practice how to articulate what you want to do. You become more eloquent and being able to identify what they want, right? As you have conversations. But you want to network all the time. You'd rather than go lock up a deal and chase private money. You'd rather bring money to a deal, PML to a deal, private money to a deal, than chase it. So
Right.
always out there, you want to find the money before, always like 6 months before. You should be raising before you
Just
get a
start
deal.
meeting people. I think
know?
that's a lot of people who have gotten in trouble. They have the slam down deal, but they haven't been networking. They have a slam down deal, but they can't close. There's no
Yeah.
money. But for people who's preparing themselves every day, like talking with people, networking every day, they already start building that relationship.
Yep.
Building
And
trust.
Andrea Chin, I'll never forget what she told me. I was on a phone call with her and she said, let's talk to her about a deal. And I think we maybe talked for 4 minutes on this deal.
I love her.
And she told me, she's like, Adam, I'm good. I'm betting on the jockey, not just the deal.
Just the deal.
And that
It's
was
so
because
important.
I formed a relationship with her.
A couple
I had a good
times.
deal.
Right.
I was asking her if she wanted this opportunity, but she knew who I was and what we've done. And I built a reputation for myself that spoke for itself. And so you can't do that if you're not talking to people.
I know, and you can't do that. Just expect one conversation will lock it.
Like
It's a multiple touch point, multiple get to know what they want, get to know what you can offer. What's their comfort level, right? What's
Exactly.
their risk profile? Like, are they open to risky, more high reward, or they're looking to more safer but fun? Or everybody has
how
different
long
flavor.
where they're putting their money, because that lets you know how long you can hold it maybe. It just allows you to know how to help them out.
Yeah.
Because it's all about solving a problem for not just yourself, but for who you're working with as well.
Right. Well, with that, that's a wrap. So I'm so glad we get to chat a little bit. I know you're leaving town today.
Yeah, going back to beautiful San Diego, a little bit warmer. I might be on the beach tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, that's the best life.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
coming.
So.